Hi, my name is Jennifer Havlat, and this is my e-journal for Class 766A, Capsule 4. The first prompt is asking me, how do you create trust? I think trust is something that is created over time. And for me, trust is a critical component of being a leader because not only do you have to establish trust with students, teachers, other staff, site admin, and parents. So there's many different ways that you build trust with different groups of people that you work with. For me specifically, working with my staff, trust means that I show up and I support. Trust means that when I say that I'm going to follow up on something, that I do follow up, and then I follow up on the follow up so that the team knows that I have done what I said that I was going to do to support them. With my site administration, trust means that they know that they can hand me tasks that are going to get done and accomplished in a way that would align with what they would want to happen or how they would have handled the situation as well. And again, it's about that communication piece, making sure that I follow back up after I've said I've done something, whether it's calling a parent or facilitating a meeting, talking to a teacher, sitting down with a staff member and going over any sort of discipline or following up with a situation, that I'm communicating back to the site team so that they're aware that this is what was handled, here's how I handle it, now, what are next steps. So trust is built through communication. Another way that I build trust with parents is to try and make the experience of communication as personal as possible. I think it's fine that we utilize email for a lot of the ways that we communicate because it's efficient and you can document what you did and what you said. But honestly, a phone call goes so much further, in my opinion, in terms of building trust and rapport with families because you took the time to actually call, which most people don't do anymore. And you can have a real authentic conversation, which you can't really do in an email. And so I think it's really important that people still utilize the skill of calling or scheduling a FaceTime meeting. I'll schedule a FaceTime meeting with parents, even if it's just 15 minutes. What are your concerns? How can I support you? Oh, you need me to follow up on X, Y, and Z. I'm going to follow up on X, Y, and Z. I'm going to email you that response that I get back from those teachers. We're going to schedule a meeting. Whatever the outcome is of that time I spend with them, it's always reaffirming and reaching back out that you've collaborated, that you spent the time. And once you do that and you start to establish that as your norm, then that trust is built. And is it always going to happen perfectly? Absolutely not. We get overwhelmed. We have a lot of things on our to-do list. Phone calls don't get missed. Sometimes they don't get, your message. So again, it's just that follow-up piece that helps to say, called you today, couldn't connect with you. I'd love to chat with you. When's a great time to talk? So trust is huge for me. How do I make sure that all voices are heard? Well, again, it just goes back to the communication, making sure that, if a student is having a global concern, I talk to all the teachers, not just the content teachers. Kids struggle in electives, kids struggle in PE, making sure that I don't discredit those teachers and their importance in this child's life and making sure that they feel like they have a voice and they can come to an IEP or they can give feedback and make sure that that's being considered on a student's record. Whatever it is, making sure that I reach out and talk to people. And again, kind of going back to the trust piece. If I want to get information from people, I want to have a face-to-face with people. Sorry, the light just went off, so this recording is going to be in the dark for the rest of the time. It's also really important to make sure that in my particular role, where I'm running IEP meetings, that if parents express a concern, that we don't discredit that. No matter what that concern is, that's their child. That's something to care about. And it needs to be not only just documented, but discussed and addressed and in some way supported. So I think one of the things that I'm trying to help my teams realize is, yes, you can document their concerns. I don't care if it's crazy outside the box concern. I want to know, what are we going to do to, at the very least, address that concern, even if it's something at home and it's as simple as sending home a textbook or doing a weekly email, as long as it's reasonable. But I think we definitely need to make sure we address parent concerns. The next part of this question I really like. It's, what strategy have you used to resolve a problem either in your district or at your school? Well, this last year has been a very challenging, interesting school year. And one of the situations we ran into early in the year was how to get kids back on campus safely, how to support staff in that endeavor. And specifically with special education, we definitely had staff that struggled through that. And a strategy that I utilized to resolve that was to meet and discuss and talk through it rather than just say yes, no, yes, no. I want to hear their concerns. I want to talk through options, problem solve together. Come to me with your problems and then come with 3 solutions so that we as a team can collaborate on that. So that was one that we worked on, and a strategy would be to just sit down and problem solve with them and make them feel like they're a part of that process. It goes all the way back to that trust piece. They're a part of the process. They're not being handed something and told to do something. They're being asked to come in and help us as a team figure that out. Another strategy I use to resolve a problem is our teachers in our modified program have struggled over the last couple of years to really have a clear picture and path of what their program looks like and curriculum to support their programs. And so I took that feedback and started working with a small subcommittee to develop a framework. And for me, this has been one of the highlights of my year professionally and personally, just knowing that we're going to have a product that at the end of the day is going to benefit our kids for the long term. And what I mean by that is that they're going to be exposed to quality level content concepts in content areas. Specifically for science and history is where I'm focusing most of my energy right now. But creating that framework and being able to hand the teachers something that they can use is going to be so valuable to them. So I'm really proud of the work that I've done with that, and I'm really looking forward to see how our district will implement that in the next few years. What have these last few things helped me learn about myself as a leader? I definitely like tackling problems. I don't necessarily shy away from them. I like challenging situations. I'm not going to say no to something that I know will allow me to bring creativity, think outside the box. I am 100% laser focused on student need. And I think that sometimes we get tunnel vision in our teacher role and tunnel vision in our admin role, that we do things this way and this is how things have to go. And I have always operated on the assumption that kids can achieve great things if we sometimes put them in opportunities to do something that may be not the norm. And I am happy to experiment to, come up with ideas and suggestions for ways that we can kind of branch out and allow ourselves to be a little bit more flexible in the way that we provide services to students. So for me, what I learned about myself as a leader is that I definitely have more confidence this year after this second year in the district, and that I feel like I can be a huge asset to sites, bringing my experience and that trust piece that I've established with not only the special education department, but other departments in general at our site, collaborating with them on the framework and being a part of different subcommittees, working with the science department, and just establishing those relationships so that they have a person that they can go to just ask questions or to just share information or to collaborate with. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.